Okay, cool. If everybody's ready to go, we can kick this off. So welcome community to our AMA session. My name is Claire, I lead growth for Ontology. And today we have representatives from Ontology and Guild. During this session, we're going to focus on the integration of EVM into Guild's platform, the exciting launch of the Guild pin, and also details of the festive campaign with the 4,000 ONG reward pool. We'll also try to provide some insights into how this partnership is going to influence the wider community. So we're super excited to explore the mutual benefits of this collab and its impact for both sides. So without further ado, I think we can kick this off with some intros. Jeff, do you want to take the lead?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jeff from Ontology, our European ecosystem lead, but also been around with Ontology for forever, 4 years, I think now. Working with the community, working with communication and all those types of things as well. So I like having that combination of roles in reality. So yeah, great to be here. Cheers, Claire.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and organizing this whole event for us. I'm super excited to talk about what we've been working on in the past months and explore what our integration brings out to our ecosystems. My name is Hannah. I'm leading customer success and part of the integration partnerships at Guild XYZ, I think for almost 2 years now, starting from community management. Great to be here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Okay, cool. So let's get started with our first topic. Jeff, Ontology has been at the forefront, right, of decentralized identity, data solutions. We talk about this all the time. Could you just provide us with a super quick overview of Ontology, highlighting maybe, yeah, as I said, some of the areas around decentralized identity and data management?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ontology, quite old in the crypto Web3 space in reality. We're into our 7th year, recently celebrated our 6th year. So been around for quite a while as a layer 1 blockchain, but also with an EVM to make it easy for developers to develop on. But with that focus from day one, from the absolute start, on decentralized identity and decentralized data. So that's done around a product we have called OntID, which has a combination of different features in there, whether it be passwordless login or management of identities or communication strategies between different identities, cross-chain facilities, things like that. The general idea is, and has always been, that identity is going to play a real central part in what we do on Web3, and getting that right is really important. So big believer in not one identity to rule them all sort of thing, but lots of different ways for different identities, different ways to communicate, and a big focus as well on users remaining in control of their data as well, to make sure that if anything's done with that data, it's at the user's request or the user's benefit. So yeah, really interesting setup on that, and I think something we're going to be talking about a lot more in Web3, especially as we seem to have got renewed interest in the market at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Always love to hear you talking about that, Jeff. Okay, cool. Now let's shift our focus to Guild. Hannah, I think you guys have been pretty instrumental in shaping the community engagement within the space. Could you describe the role that Guild plays in community engagement and kind of how you see, your unique approach, I guess, and what kind of impact this has had on the community?
Absolutely. I just want to reflect back, Jeff. I love how you framed the whole topic of digital identity, and I would love to hear more about, what you think about this, like what the future will be in this topic. Actually, if I can just say that, like what Guild is in a brief intro is Guild is actually a homepage and toolkit for on-chain communities. We are focusing on automating token gating and membership management beyond running campaigns, civil defense, and also just enabling communities to leverage token rewards, just like Guild pins or any other custom NFTs. And actually, it plays a really essential part in digital identities, like how the whole Guild model and Guild rewards are working. Actually, speaking of community engagement and our approach in digital identities at Guild, like our goal is to unlock community building on scale. And when it comes to engagement, we actually build we actually focus on building like full interoperability for projects between all their platforms, for sharing, interactions, and collaborations. And I would say that like there is like a really big part, with the best UX and gamified approaches in mind. And the platforms and tools actually have a really important part in community engagement, because it's one thing what amazing initiatives, campaign ideas like community leaders bring to the table, but on the other hand, the greater adoption and valuable growth actually happens when your members have an engaging and gamified experience when onboarding, questing, and more. And with the guild model of requirements, roles, and rewards, you can actually set up any kind of advanced role structures, so you can find your way with guild 100%. If not, we are here to help. And then just reflecting back to the digital identity, but if you have any comments, just let me know, because I can talk for forever. But what I wanted to say is that the whole thing of requirements, roles, and rewards, and guild, like how it actually unlocks, engagement with in the world of digital identities. We have a robust infrastructure behind guild that aggregates a bunch of different Web2 and Web3 platforms, including your Twitter, your Telegram, and also like your email, and all in a guild profile. And I just want to mention, like, it's stored securely and privately in our database. And in the world of digital identities, in many cases, I would say that guild serves as a validator. So based on the set requirements we've been talking about, we can validate one's held assets, on-chain, and internet history. And on the other hand, guilds can actually distribute these custom NFTs, guild pins, based on the same advanced set of requirements. So guild is, it's in an interesting place when it comes to digital identities.
Hannah, thanks so much for that. That was an awesome overview. Yeah, I think it's super impressive to see how Guild, I think, like, is not just participating in the space, but like actively shaping community engagement landscape. I think with like really impactful initiatives. I know you and I connected last week, and you did a really impressive kind of walkthrough of some of the connections with social platforms. It's really great to see kind of these initiatives continue to develop. I wanted to jump in more detail about the collaboration, but just to take a step back to see if Jeff had anything he wanted to kind of throw in there as well. Hannah, I know you mentioned some interesting topics around decentralized identity.
I love the way, Clay, you know that I'm going to have lots of things just to add on to this that are outside what we're talking to.
I know,
And
I
look,
know you well.
I think it's really interesting, right? So I'm currently working on quite a long form article for myself, more than anything, with the controversial title of identities are mostly useless. Now, I think that's really important with what Hannah was just saying, because when we use identities, when we think about identity, a lot of the time what we're thinking about is actually a little bit more nuanced and sort of reputation. What is our reputation? And that's what things like Guild really helps to do. It helps people to build a reputation within a community. Identities are part of community a lot of the time. When we have identities in the normal world, there's often a community basis with it. It's one thing, say, proving that you're the author of an article or the author of a book, but it's a different thing for people to read it and understand the reputation of that person who wrote it and how they view that reputation, how they view that individual. And that's really important. So I get really excited about projects like Guild coming through, because I think identity is at its most useful, at its strongest, when it's based within communities, when actually you can build that reputation around your identity, that reputation with other people, that interactivity with other people, whether that be roles or pulling in lots of different data and so on. So I think that really, for me, is what makes decentralized identity really interesting, in that application around reputations and around what people do and have done.
Yeah, I think the area of reputation is a part of this that I'm super interested in. I think, to kind of understand exactly the impact that you're having, and your past decisions have made, and how that impacts the community in the space. I think that's an element of the space that's super interesting. Hannah, like, do you want to contribute at all to kind of the area of reputation when it comes to decentralized identity?
I cannot agree more. Like everything that you've been just mentioning. Like I think when we are talking about communities engagement, actually as a community leaders and community builders, we really need to, put focus on like how our members are represented within our community. And this is what we enable with the guild rules, is that you can segment your community members. And if you want to give more reputation to a certain subgroup in your guild, in your community, you can actually have these rewards and different access controls, that anything that you have in your mind, and then just link immediate utility to the roles that you have in your guilds. And this is what is actually just building up your reputation and so on, and just giving you more ways to contribute.
Definitely. And I think that transitions quite nicely into understanding a little bit more about the collaboration between Ontology and Guild, maybe a little bit more information about the EVM integration. And I think everybody would love to hear more about um, the festive campaign that Ontology just launched, that ended up actually being extremely popular. And we took, I think, from my side, and I'm sure Jeff, you agree as well, the team took away some really interesting learnings from like how valuable the Guild platform is, and kind of how to structure like enjoyable, like kind of game packed campaigns that are kind of giving back to the community as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of questions, I guess, in there. One around the EVM, one around the festive campaign we had. And I think the EVM becomes really important. So for people who don't know what the EVM is, it's the Ethereum virtual machine. So we launched that, oh golly, it must be nearly 2 years ago now. And the point of that is around a broader push from ontology in general, is to remove barriers. And that's barriers to development, that's barriers to partners, that's barriers to users. And the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, really helps giving people a familiar development platform to develop and to build on. It makes it easier for people like Guild to integrate our communities and integrate those things. So the EVM is all about accessibility for us, and it just makes it easy, whilst keeping the benefits of that ontology chain being cheap and fast and all those things that you want from a blockchain. And so the EVM becomes really important. I really enjoyed our festive campaign. So we pulled in a couple of things. We linked up with
Yeah.
Orange Protocol on sort of reputation and what people did and how they'd interacted. We hooked up with Guild to sort of bring those keys and bring those things together that worked really, really well. And what it enabled us to do was put this sort of holistic approach to a campaign, to be able to reward people for their activities, for getting involved, for doing things in quite a simple, easy way. And we got lots of people getting involved in that and taking part in that, and that was really cool. I think, having come sort of from much more of a community focus in the first place, I think finding easy ways for community members to interact, to get involved, to do things, giving them a reason to try new things out in a safe way, is really cool. And that worked really well over the festive season, I think.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. Hannah, sorry, I'll give you time to jump in. Sorry.
Sorry. I just wanted to reflect that. Like, we're really happy to have the Ontology EVM integrated on Guild, because, like, it enables like you and any other project within your ecosystem to leverage your NFTs, the origin token, and also just contract queries as requirements to build these role structures that we've been talking about now. And I'm really excited to see you growing with us. Like, the whole campaign that you did, it was really pioneer, actually. I think you've been the first community who actually leveraged the secret rewards this way. And I love how you just, did it with us and Orange Protocol, and you just found a way to make it work, for all of us. And Jeff, you mentioned like builders, and I just wanted to reflect back to that, because actually for this year, one of the biggest goals that we have is finding ways to support more builders and developers within our ecosystem. So actually, I can sense that we have a joint goals there. So we can actually find a way, to support one another on this, because I think it's actually incredible what you can achieve with the right people and contributors in your community. So we will talk about it later on.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think coming from just from the ontology side as well, I think the NFTs and mystery boxes, like kind of integrated with Guild, was really great. I think to be able to provide like these tangible incentives almost for participants. And I think it made it like a super engaging campaign. I know Jeff touched on it, but it was really great success for us. So we saw some awesome engagement from the and visibility from the community as well. So excited to see kind of what we might produce next. Um, that leads us to, I guess, Hannah, just to kind of circle back a little bit, I'd love to kind of maybe get some insights from you on kind of how do you like envision, I guess, this collaboration, like how it might influence kind of the larger landscape of maybe the blockchain community, and if there's kind of like maybe a ripple effect you see with other platforms, developers, and the community as a whole.
Yes, absolutely. So as we've been talking about the whole mission, like what we have behind Guild and what is your mission and your goals for your ecosystem, I would say that like if we are speaking about the future collaboration and the future goal that we could have together is to be on a mission to onboard more communities and more projects from your ecosystem together so we can unlock the whole package of ontology and guild for them so they can fully leverage what we've been building for, because actually it will enable us to reach their full potential, whether it's working on new onboarding or just finding valuable developers for them or anything that you can figure out within your ecosystem. I think this is really powerful, to think about, like when you would like to start, for example, using another tool or just playing around with something. It's really really great to have it within your ecosystem. So I can definitely say that, like, while just figuring out the campaign and the initiative that we've been talking about now, like how you can actually reach more developers and onboard them like in a better way, I think beyond like figuring out new campaigns together, I think onboarding more communities is a great initiative that we can say for us.
And Jeff, what are your thoughts coming from the ontology side with the Ont EVM to support them in building their communities, or enabling other protocols to build their communities?
Yeah, do you know one of the reasons I love doing these talks is because as people are talking, I have lots of ideas about things we can do, and actually some things. So I'm speaking on the fly a little bit here, listening to Hannah, and I thought that was really interesting. So one of the things I'm doing at the moment is talking to new projects, talking to new people, trying to encourage more people to build on the EVM, to build with ontology. And we're looking at relaunching the fund to give developers some support around that. But outside of that, actually, it's really interesting to be able to talk to developers and say, well, do you know what? The Ontology EVM is already supported on Guild. We've got good relationships. We've got good contacts. We can help you set up your communities. We can help you set up your marketing and your engagement and your things with Guild. And that becomes a real nice collaborative approach to, again, going back to that key point here of removing barriers for people. So if you can remove, developers are so busy. They're such a busy bunch of people. If you can make it easy for them to say, okay, well, build or pull your project onto the Ontology EVM and actually incorporate your community into Guild at the same time. These are some of the campaigns we've run. This is what we think works. Here's an introduction to Guild to get started. Actually, that's a real nice package to offer to projects to say, come on, we can help you get moving. We can quick start we can accelerate your growth and do all these things together with different partners and so on. And that for me is one of the beautiful things about working in Web3, those relationships and partnerships you can make to help other projects really make the most of what they're offering people.
That's 100%. That's for sure. And I love how you said it, because actually, like, one thing when you want to start building something is how you said it also, like, everybody's busy. Builders are busy, we are busy. And then, when you have that one connection that can actually happen, with their expertise, they can actually make it so easy for you to get started. And I think actually it's really, really valuable when it comes to partnerships and collaboration. to have the right people to help you. And then we're more than happy, to have just put some focus on dedicated support, and then help everybody out there.
Thanks so much, guys, for diving into that. It was a really great kind of detailed explanation. I think it definitely sounds like Ontology and Guild are doing it together. It looks like you're kind of building, like, a new playground for developers and users alike. So I think this could really change kind of how we interact. So it's super exciting to see where this is headed. For both of you, actually, like, I'm quite curious about any external influences that could have shaped any of these strategies and initiatives. Maybe if you both have any insights into, is there particular communities or maybe campaigns outside of your own that could have like inspired or influenced the way that these have been developed? Like, kind of just looking at like how we could better kind of engage or look at community engagement approaches, I should say. I think it's always kind of fascinating to see how ideas and successes from one area can kind of spark like innovation in another.
Well, that's a big question, Claire. Look, I
Out,
think,
wasn't it?
but I think it's really interesting, right? I think the campaigns, in a very general way, that I find really resonate with me and actually have a lot of traction a lot of the time are campaigns with a little bit of meaning and a little bit of follow up and longevity to them. So it's when people do these campaigns that actually empower users to be better at what they do, right? So it's not just giving things away, it's not just freebies, it's not just, but it's actually empowering users to get better. It's often linked around, especially in our space, around good, solid education. I actually like campaigns that aren't too focused on the product you're trying to push, but actually focused on the community and the users themselves, and actually creates an advocate for your project, creates an advocate for what you're trying to do, and creates an advocate for the entire Web3 space. We're such a small space in reality at this moment in time that it's not or shouldn't be too competitive between projects, and we should be actually trying to create advocates for Web3. That's my personal view on there. And so campaigns that do that empower users, give users a need and a want to be in the space, and turns them into people who will be a voice for that space as well. I love those campaigns. I think they tend to be pretty successful, and they also have a lasting effect, which is what we want in reality. We don't want a campaign that just has a 5 minute impact and it's forgotten about.
Absolutely. It got to be something continuous, right? In a gamified way where you start a campaign and you feel that like there's more to do to be more engaged in it. So I think that's the beauty in it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I know, Jeff, we talk about this all the time, but about kind of education being a big factor in the development of these campaigns and how we execute it. So I actually wanted to touch on the guild pin. I just realized we haven't chatted about that yet. Hannah, it would be great to understand for the community and anybody maybe that hasn't seen. It's just a little bit more information on the guild pin, and yeah, kind of how it can be utilized, or really what it means.
Yes, and I can answer to this question with just mixing up with different campaigns also, just reflecting back to your previous
Of course.
question. Actually, we've been fortunate enough to work with projects like Arbitrum, Polygon, Zcasing, and Base, and running just successful campaigns with them. Some part of the campaigns, or some mix of the campaigns, were with the guild pins, because currently we have 2 seasons behind. If someone in the audience is not familiar with the guild pins, they are soulbound NFTs. They are like a proof of join, just pins that actually enables members to signal their early support and belonging to communities right from their wallet. So imagine that you just join a guild. For example, you join our guild, and then since you are a member, you have the opportunity to just mint this badge and then just have it in your wallet. And on the other hand, for admins, pins are super important and valuable building blocks for future growth strategies and campaigns, just to nurture the community connections. As I mentioned, we have 2 seasons behind. And for example, just giving you some ideas like what we've been doing with other projects. So for example, with Polygon, we had multiple campaigns, and one was with the pins. They announced it, people could join their community and then just mint the pin to just signal their early support. And on the other hand, actually we had another campaign going on with them, which was some kind of in connection with digital identities. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with Polygon ID, but we ran a campaign with them, a successful campaign where we were the validators. So everybody who had, a certain Polygon ID, they could actually validate it in the guild. And then we've been running a campaign and just distributing NFTs, like a proof of gaming kind of NFTs for them. So we had these kind of campaigns also alongside of the pins and with other initiatives. And I just wanted to say that, like, with the other projects, we actually had a lot of communications around dev activation and that sort of things. So stay tuned, because we have some not yet released features that communities can leverage right soon.
Thanks so much, Hannah. Jeff, I'll leave a little bit of space there. I'm not sure if you wanted to jump in with anything.
Not overly, I guess. I mean, the pins are really cool, I think. And I think it's really important. PFPs in general have become really popular, and that's in part to signal you're part of a community. Soulbound tokens, I think, are really interesting. I think they're a really interesting approach to identity, but also other things. And I think there is an importance in being part of a community. It does tell you something about what that person's interests are, what they're doing, and so on. And so I'm a big fan of having some sort of representation of being a member of a community, being a member of something. Sometimes, and I think down the line, what we might be surprised at what these things can do. I've spoken to people doing social fi things who are looking to try and link people based on similar interests. So it gives this opportunity for people to build projects that maybe looks at the pins you've collected and says, these are some people around SocialFi who have similar pins. Maybe you'd like to connect. So there's lots of different things we can do, or people, other builders and developers can do with so many things that I think they're really important, and who knows where it leads us in the long term.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually, that to utilize the pin to kind of open the potential for collaborations. If you see kind of others with the pin, that's actually a really kind of interesting way to look at it, Jeff. Hannah, I just wanted to revert back quite quickly to, I think you'd mentioned an element about the festive campaign for Ontology, that there was elements that Ontology had pioneered. Was I correct in hearing that? There was elements of the...
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Could you maybe give a little bit more information from the side of Guild? That would be great, on kind of how the campaign maybe was structured, and what you saw that was different from other campaigns.
Yes, absolutely. I can give you like a quick overview of like how the guild is set up and how it was ran, like organized in a beautiful way. I can say that. I saw a lot of guilds, trust me. And
Nice.
Ontology Network is set up beautifully. So basically, when you just come here, when, for example, someone is learning about the ontology campaign on the socials, it's really amazing that they can actually click on the ontology guild and then join immediately. And once, for example, someone is joining, actually there's a loyal NFT plus for everyone who is a newcomer, who is an interested folk in it. And one element which was really unique in the ontology guild is the team. Thank you for that. The theme is leverage these secret rewards. Like, secret rewards are actually a really flexible kind of rewards. So for example, community builders can put, different links, different unique, codes and sort of things there. So the Ontology Guild actually leveraged that kind of reward with rewarding, like one loyalty NFT plus for as a welcome gift. And then moving forward, if for example someone had a certain NFT, like a prism key or a diamond key or anything else, actually they were more secret to be revealed. So this is something which is, I think, from a guild perspective, I would say that like it was a really engaging and a really, great campaign to activate the interested folks. I cannot talk, sorry.
That's like always happens on AMAs. Yeah, I can.
Oh, yes.
With Jeff, I think you'd agree that the team worked super hard, I think, on developing this campaign. Like looking at kind of any area that could be, that could essentially, we could create like more of a gamified experience, or that there were layers and tiers of rewards. So I think it's going to be a great compliment to hear that it was structured super well, and we got a compliment from somebody that deals a lot with so many guilds.
Yeah, we put a lot of thought into trying to find a way to combine some of the things we're interested in as a project, but also our community are interested in. That's why they're with Ontology a lot of the time. So, and I think we hit something that I was quite pleased with. I think we put it together quite well. Love to build on that as well in the future. I think there's lots of other things we can do. So looking forward to thinking about how we build upon that, and how we make it even better, or slightly different moving forward as well.
Awesome. So that's pretty much everything I'd look to kind of cover today, with speaking to you both, looking at the festive campaign that Ontology collaborated with Guild, then discussing the Guild pin, also for everybody just to stay alert for more announcements from the Guild pin and Ontology. And then, yeah, looking at kind of the kind of landscape of community engagement as well. I don't know, Hannah, Jeff, did either of you want to kind of add anything before we wrap it up? I'm going to open the floor for 2 minutes, like just to see if we have any questions from the community.
I think we covered a lot of things that I wanted to share with you guys. So if anyone has a question, I'm more than happy to answer from the audience.
Yeah, same here. I'd like to finish just with how I tend to finish. I'm a bit of a stuck record when I finish these things, but for people listening, go and use things, like go and join a guild. It doesn't even have to be Ontology's guild, although great if you do, but go and join guilds and things. I've taken to trying to see, since our partnership with Guild, I've taken to starting to, when I use a project, when I use some sort of protocol, I just go and join their guild if they have one, just to see what it's all about and what they're doing and what they're working on. It's the best way to learn about Web3. We're all still learning because it's so new. So go and join guilds. Go and join as many as the projects you use.
Really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the shout out. We are really happy to have you as a partner in our team.
Okay, we'll give it about 2 minutes and see if there's any questions. But yeah, if nobody wants to ask questions right now and you think of questions after the AMA, we're always about reach out on Twitter, Telegram, or Discord. We're quite a friendly team. Hannah and the team at Guild are also super friendly. So if there's any questions that come to mind after the AMA, don't hesitate to connect.
You can always go to Guild XYZ, and if you just go there to the right bottom, you will find our team. We have a support there where you can ask anything, and also if you just join like our guild or just hop on Discord, you will find the entire team there.
Yeah, and I spend far too much time on Telegram, so feel free to jump across anybody and say hi. A lot of the team are there all the time, actually, and we're always happy to chat to people.
Okay. We don't seem to have anybody that wants to ask a question now. We did cover a lot today, so the questions will probably come after the AMA. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for taking the time to connect today. It was really great to kind of get insights into this collaboration. I think it's great for the community to understand like how Guild is planning to utilize this partnership. And then from Ontology, I think it was nice to kind of reflect on the success of the festive campaign. And yeah, just together to kind of understand how we're going to move forward and kind of shape the future community initiatives with some super valuable insights. So yeah, thanks so much, guys. And as I said, yeah, please reach out on social if anybody has any questions or wants to connect. We'll be doing a quick run through of this AMA tomorrow on our community call as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Claire. Great talking to you, Hannah.
Likewise, and then let's chat afterwards. See you guys.
Awesome. Ciao.